here by the Ludington and Scottville Chamber of Commerce. Your hit music is on 102.7 WMOM, Pentwater, Ludington, Baldwin, and all of West Michigan. It's 8 o'clock. Good morning and welcome to Leading West Michigan, a show about success and featuring local leaders and people in local business. And now here's your host, Ryan Howe.
Good morning, everyone. We have a great show for you today. I'm Ryan Howe, founder of Summit Business Guides, where I help businesses with strategic and succession planning so they can grow their businesses faster than they ever thought possible. You can learn more at summitbusinessguides.com. So this show is all about learning about our guests' leadership journey. And joining us today is Julie Van Dyke of Cottage Works, More Cottage Works, and Wave Nutrition. Morning, Julie.
Morning.
So saw last on Facebook this morning, I was just checking through there, and I saw there was the hospital gala last night. It looked like you had a few folks out there. It was a good time. I didn't go. How was the event?
Yeah, it was awesome. We go every year. We go as a big girls group, girls night out, and the hospital always puts on a good show out at Lincoln Hills Golf Club. Lots of great food, a great band, just a room full of friends hanging out.
So the ladies were out, so the gentlemen were left basically unsupervised?
Right. The gentlemen usually fish.
Okay.
But they ended up, due to the waves, they went to the chicken shack and gorged on wings, and they were really happy.
No, that's good. All right, good. So, I mean, again, divide and conquer. That's good stuff. So, as long as everybody made it back safe. So,
yep.
Again, it's great to have you here. Like we were talking earlier, I think we're going to have in for a really good day today out here. There's going to be sun shining down here in Ludington. So, if anybody who's out there in the area, please come on down, check it out. So Julie, get right into it. A lot of folks may not know this, but you're not local. You're not from the area originally. Where are you from?
No, I'm not. So I actually grew up in Saginaw, went to Swan Valley High School, ended up in West Michigan after college, and moved here 17 years ago. So I feel like a local, but really not.
So Saginaw, so when you were in school, one of my favorite questions is, how did you actually like school? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really loved school.
All parts?
I did. School was easy for me. I had a lot of friends. It was very social. I was involved, very heavily involved in a lot. National Honor Society, Student Council, track, pom-pom, all that.
Wait, pom-pom?
Yeah, I was a pom-pom girl.
Okay, all right, just making sure. Okay.
It's kind of like a cheerleader, but you don't do cheers and stunts. You just dance to music at halftime at the football and basketball games.
Oh, wow.
So it was kind of fun. And I have a twin sister, so she and I did everything together, and we had the same set of friends and just had a really good high school career. So
I've always wondered that about twins, basically having you grow up with a partner in crime, basically, is what it ends up being, right?
Yes.
So were you the good one or the one that possibly got in trouble?
She had a boyfriend almost the entire high school years. I did not. So yeah, I was probably the bad one. But we were together all the time. So
okay, fair enough. No, so when you were in high school, you mentioned you were involved in an awful lot. Was there anybody that either would basically point you in the direction of certain things to work on? Was there somebody that you could lean on that was very helpful in helping you focus on those?
I was thinking back to high school. That was 36 years ago, so it's hard to think back that far, but my counselor, and I can't remember his name, it's like a Joan Vidak at MCC schools. She pushed me in the right direction, and I became a co-op student with Dow Corning, and for 2 years I went to school half days and went and worked at Dow Corning the other half of the day, and that's where I got a lot of good business experience, and a lot more mentors there were my bosses.
So that's interesting with the co-op. What sort of work did you do with Dow?
It was administrative assistant type work to like an engineer it was in the facility Dow Corning where they made the saline implants, breast implants. So it was really interesting. And as a 17, 18-year-old girl, my sister also co-op there. So we would go to work or go to school 8 to noon. We'd hop in the car, drive out to Dow Corning, change into like business professional clothes, go to work, and then we'd be back at school by 3:30 for our practices and stuff. It was just it was a good resume builder and a very big help to make us more professional and know how to talk to adults.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Anytime you can get an opportunity to work in those type of environments, those co-ops, those job work programs. Again, I'm glad you mentioned Joan Vidak. She's just great.
Yeah,
With the
she's
work.
my favorite.
Oh, it's nope. Okay. Mental note. Got a favorite up there. No, but
Well, we have both of my girls went to Scottville schools, so Joan was always our go-to for everything.
oh, of course. No, and it's interesting though when you get those mentors that push you in that direction. That was it a good fit as soon as you started with them? Did it just make sense, or did you have to work at it to really get that co-op to understand like the goodness that you're getting out of it?
I think it was right away. I don't remember a transition period at all, but this was 36 years ago. So I would say that the bosses they were used to having co-op students from high school. They wanted us. They knew we'd stay through college. So we ended up, my sister and I both went to Delta Community College our first 2 years. We had free rides there, and then we could stay working at Dow Corning while we were in college. So we spent quite a bit of time there, and that helped pay the bills. And paid internships, paid co-ops are wonderful, and we took full advantage of those.
Yeah, those are absolutely great. Again, the sooner we can get young men and women into basically healthy business environments where they can learn and just cut their teeth on that, the better. So again, just makes that transition that much easier into the working world. So after Delta Community College, you went to Western, is that correct?
I did. Yep. I'm
I see your degree here, and I'm going to need you to help me with this. So
Okay.
It said you've got industrial marketing.
Yeah, so at the time I thought I would go back and work for Dow Corning
Okay.
or Dow Chemical. So I got the industrial marketing. It was logistics management pretty much, but primary focus on marketing. So it could take me anywhere. And then after college, after Western, I decided I didn't want to go back up to Midland. I wanted to stay in West Michigan along the lakeshore, and that's when I took my first job outside of Dow Corning.
Okay, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Julie Van Dyke here on Leading West Michigan. Again, I'm Ryan Howe, and this show is all about learning about our guests' leadership journey. And Julie was just finishing up time at Western and made the decision that this side of the state was pretty cool and want to head up here. So this first job that you took, where was it? And what'd you do?
When I graduated from Western, I don't know if it's still happening now, but the career placement office sets you up with lots of interviews. This was back in, I can't remember the year, 1991 maybe. And I had 3 job offers, and one was for Old Kent Bank. And that was one thing as a kid, I always liked banking and I liked financial things. And so I went to work as an assistant branch manager for Old Kent Bank. That's now Fifth Third Bank that we know today. But I worked in banking for 5 years, and I did commercial loans, consumer loans, mortgages back at that time, the branch assistant managers, and then I moved up to manager. We did it all for our customers. It was great. We didn't have different departments like they do nowadays. But I loved that job.
And with that, though, again, was it the being able to help people? I mean, when I think about bankers and I think about folks' credit unions when they're doing their work there, they're at this nexus to where they're helping people meet their dreams, get their dreams, as far as, like you say, mentioned mortgages. This might be their first house and the enjoyment of that. Was that something that you got out of that as well?
Yeah, I loved putting the pieces of the puzzle together for people and making their dreams come true. It was really fun and satisfying. My last stint as branch manager was in Caledonia, super nice community south of Grand Rapids. Loved that small town feel. It's a lot like Ludington. I was also at a Breton and Burton branch for a while where I got robbed. So I had both experience of inner city and then rural.
Okay. All right. I wasn't expecting a robbery story right off the bat here, though. But
it wasn't super drama, but it was something.
Okay. Yeah. So with that, though, what was your position there? Were you branch manager there?
Branch manager.
So talk
yes.
to me about your team after that. What did you have to do, or how did you help them, or what was involved?
We all, Old Kent Bank was a huge system back then, and we all had not therapy, like counseling. We had the opportunity to sit with our trainers to help walk us through what we could have done differently. We really went by the book. We hit the alarm and we gave the money away and let the people get away. But it is scary. There was a couple, I remember an older teller, an older woman said, I think I might just be retiring now, and then, okay, yep, might be time. It was scary back then, but I don't even hear about bank robberies anymore. It must not be happening, maybe with all the camera systems. Yeah,
knocking on everything here. So, no, so I guess the other spot, what was the communication like with the clients afterwards, with your customers?
Oh, gosh. We were in the inner city in Grand Rapids. They all knew where they were living. They were all the local people. So it happened.
I understand.
Yeah.
So again, we're continuing our conversation with Julie Van Dyke of Cottage Works, and we're going to move on past the bank robbery stuff here. Move on. So so you made your way up here and you decided to stay. What really kept you around the area though?
Oh, around this area. So basically, after I was working at Old Kent Bank, I ended up meeting my husband. We were older, 28 years old when we met, got married at 30, and then had our first child at 31. We lived in Allendale for several years until the kids were 5 and 7 when we decided to move up north to our cottage. We had bought a little fixer-upper up here on Plinus Lake out south of Custer and Scottville. And we decided we liked being up north more than we liked being at home. And it was also becoming an issue with our oldest daughter. She was 7 at the time and wanting to play soccer. And we knew soccer games were on Saturdays, and we were not going to be able to make it up to our cottage on the weekends as frequently. So right then we said, let's get jobs up here, let's move. And then the kids could play soccer every Saturday if they wanted to.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
I hear that consistently from folks. It's not a huge amount, but there's definitely a large minority of it, people who have cottages. They have they come up here and visit either as family, visit their grandparents, and they just fall in love with living in this area. And at some point in their life, they just make the decision, hey, we're just going to make our way over there and figure it out from here. So, because there is opportunity here. There's actually quite a bit of opportunity. You just have to decide to stay.
Yeah, we both sent out resumes in mid-July. I remember laying on a raft in the lake one day. The kids were napping, and I was like, we're going to send resumes out. We're moving. And within a couple weeks, we both had not offers, but we had opportunities to interview. And shortly after, we had gotten jobs, and we just packed up the house and sold our house down in Allendale. That took a little while. At that time, that was in 2007. The economy was just starting to take a downturn, but we got the house sold, and then we ended up moving out of our cottage and moving into a bigger house across the lake with more insulation. We found out that first winter that it was a little cold and it was a little cramped. So now we're in that same house that we bought back in 2007. So
that's great though. That's that's pretty funny. Actually, you're only up here when it's nice and like going, ooh, got a few more cracks in the old insulation and the siding.
We knew
thought
there might be an issue, but yeah, it was. And my husband needed room for a big barn, and that place didn't have that space, so we definitely had to upgrade a little.
How'd the kids like the move? I mean, that age.
They loved it. They don't. We knew it was the right age to do it if we were going to do it. And we bought them a kitten right away that summer. And one of the neighbors' cats had babies, and they were trying to get rid of a kitten. And that kind of made the adjustment even sweeter. And they each had their own room here where at home they were sharing. So, there were some perks. And they don't even remember back when they were younger where they lived. So
this is their home, and as far as they're concerned, always has been.
Yes, and they started at Scottville Schools right away that fall. Grace was going to be a kindergartner. Emily was a second grader. And we didn't even know this, but back in Allendale, kindergarten was part-time. And when we moved up here, kindergarten was full-time. So it was awesome. She was a big girl. She was ready to get on that bus with her sister. And it worked out great for our careers, too. So we could just work full-time while the kids were in school.
Yeah, that's great, especially being able to get them into the smaller schools and just there's more contact with the teachers. That's great. So, again, for those just joining us, this is Leading West Michigan. I'm Ryan Howe with Summit Business Guides, and we're talking with Julie Van Dyke, again, owner of Cottage Works, and Wave Nutrition, which we're going to talk a little bit more about those here in a bit. So you made your way up here. So what was this job that you got?
Okay, so I ended up getting a job with, it's no longer around, but the Mason County Growth Alliance. I was the economic development director for the county. So I worked for Fabian Nizaki and the Board of Commissioners, and then I had another board that was ahead of the Mason County Growth Alliance. But now that is different. Now the chamber houses economic development. It's all different. And I love that job. That's really what acclimated me to the community so quickly. I ended up serving on every committee in Custer, Scottville, and Ludington, and just got to know a ton of people and get super involved.
So with that, your degree, again, in industrial marketing, I also see you went back here for your MBA also, correct?
I did that while we were having babies.
Okay, so I just wanted to piece that together. That's okay. No, I wanted to pull that out here.
I forget about that. I did that. That was one of those things that I always wanted to get my MBA, and I thought, while I'm having these kids, I had them pretty close together, and they're babies, and you can't really do much anyway. I could study, and so I did crank that out in a couple of years. Yeah,
those again, to go back for MBA, I'm an online graduate for all of my degrees. I did start at West Shore, and then as I was in the military, I think I ended up going to like 6 different colleges. Just the nature of the beast as you're moving around until I was able to find one. But I tell you, that secondary, that degree, going on for graduate degree, that opens so many opportunities, so many just doors to be able to get you in for the conversation at that point, where it's the different version of why we say, hey, we want you to go to college, because that's showing you're continuing to care about your education. When you move on to that next piece with an MBA, that's that specialization. Like, hey, I'm here, I'm taking extra work to know more about how to actually manage and run businesses, which gets everybody's attention, saying, okay, they're making that next step. So I can see where you're able to come in and, again, as far as getting in with the Growth Alliance there, to be able to bring that skill set. So when you got with the Growth Alliance, what was it like when you started there?
Well, I had replaced a gentleman that had been doing it for 20 years, and he ended up taking a job with the state of Michigan doing the same work, economic development. So he was now a resource for me, and he was also still living in town. Bill Kratz is his name. A lot of people know Bill, and he's wonderful. So he could train me. He could go with me on calls to our local manufacturers and business owners to tell them what the resources were that were available to them for growth and startups. And so he made that transition really good. And of course, all of my board members were all local business owners. So I had a lot of support.
So right off the bat, just welcomed in saying, hey, how can we help and get you along here? Who do we need to introduce you to? Things of that nature. Yep.
Oh, yeah. It was a quick welcome. And I got to say, this town makes you feel welcome. I never felt like an outsider. I was welcomed with open arms. My husband took a job with Cairns, West Michigan, and he's a mechanical engineer. So he worked there for several years before starting Cottage Works.
So to take it all the way back to your time when you were doing the co-op, you're working with engineers, did that kind of lay the groundwork saying, hey, I kind of like these guys, keep my eye out for one of them? Is that what ended up happening?
I don't know how that happened. No, his mom actually introduced us. So I worked with his mom, and she said, I got a guy for you. So, yeah. And we were ready at 28 to settle down.
So she was a matchmaker for you.
She was.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Moms got their folks. It's like, yeah, you got my boy's wonderful. You should come check him out.
I said, can I see a picture first?
That's great. So, okay. So with the Growth Alliance, especially coming in here, and that's again another thing that, as I was from here, originally, and when I left, but I came back. I was treated the exact same way as I had been here forever, even with folks who didn't know that I necessarily grew up in Custer and I was from this area. And afterwards, obviously, they were excited that I had come back. So, that's one of the stories that I want to consistently come back to here is that, we have people that come up here all the time and, it's just that small minority want to stay. They're like, this is a great place for families, a good place for work. There's all sorts of opportunities around here to get out and enjoy things. And for those of us who leave to go gain skills, to go, get some growth, learn some things, when you come back and visit, you realize that yes, those opportunities you didn't see before now exist because you did leave and go get those skills. And when you come back, the area welcomes you with just open arms. They're like, come back into the fold here. So, and again, that's a great story just to hear that whole arc where you got up here, because I wouldn't expect anything less from the folks that we have on boards here. We had Julie Sarto was on a couple of weeks ago, and she's been on a lot of boards, and she's, again, she's just a great example of the folks that are on our boards that want to make this place a great place to work, live, raise families, and do the things you need to do. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. So, but no, that's good. So, all right, we're heading towards our first break here. So, again, you're listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page right here, and WMOM YouTube channel. So we're going to take this first break, and when we return, let's talk about basically your time after the Growth Alliance.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sure.
Local people, real success stories shared every week. It's Leading West Michigan with your host, Ryan Howe, here on 102.7 WMOM.
Make this a summer of celebration at Styx. Gather your friends and family for your next bridal shower, bachelor or bachelorette party, birthday celebration, or baby shower. Styx offers a variety of spaces perfect for any size gathering, and we can't wait to celebrate with you. Reserve your space, choose your menu, and get ready to party. Visit StyxLudington.com/venue to browse spaces and book your event. That's STIXLudington.com/venue.
Do you enjoy refunds on ATM withdrawal fees, building savings automatically, no monthly maintenance fees, and free digital banking? Well, Safe Harbor Credit Union offers a free checking account that pays 5% APY on balances up to $15,000. You can open your account within minutes. Innovative checking built on traditional values. Free Kasasa Cash rewards you for supporting your community. Some key features include high dividends, refunds on ATM withdrawal fees, no monthly maintenance fees, and no minimum balance requirements. To learn more, check out our website at safeharborcu.org or come visit us at our office at 5511 US 10. Member, owner, neighbor. Here, you're one and the same. Safe Harbor Credit Union.
Oakview Medical Care Facility, proudly serving Mason County since 1966. We are currently hiring second and third shift nurses to lead small neighborhoods of residents and staff within the facility. We have created new roles to provide a holistic care approach for our residents. Come join our neighborhood today. To complete an application, see our website or stop by and pick one up today. Other positions are available as well.
Join us for the 40th Annual Gold Coast Artisan Fair, held at Rotary Park in downtown Ludington on August 12th and 13th. Celebrate the 40th anniversary of this event with more than 150 crafters from around the country who will display and sell unique handcrafted items, woodwork, metals, ceramic, jewelry, clothing, paintings, and more. Browse, shop, and spend the day with these eclectic artisans. Enjoy some of the delicious festival food fare that is available on site. Rotary Park is located next to House of Flavors restaurant, just 4 blocks from Ludington's beautiful Stearns Park Beach, and 4 blocks from the heart of downtown Ludington with its own unique storefronts. Hours for the Gold Coast Artisan Fair are Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information, contact the Chamber Alliance of Mason County at 231-845-0324, and check out all the events happening on the community events calendar at www.ludington.org.
It's another way to increase the awareness of your events and happenings. It's Mom's Fridge Magnets, presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Hi, this is Lori from West Michigan Community Mental Health. If you are looking for a rewarding career and have a passion for helping others, be a part of Renew, Rebuild, Recover. Go to WMCMHS.org and view career opportunities today.
Our service team at Watson Motors in Ludington and Manistee will treat your vehicle like one of our own. We're by your side whenever you need car service or repair work done. Watson Motors in Ludington is located at the corner of Dennis and US 10 and in Manistee on Parkdale Road across from Big Al's Pizza.
Monday, August 7th from 6 to 7 p.m. Manistee County Library will have an evening talking about Michigan's haunted lighthouses. This presentation is with Diana, who has been researching Michigan's lighthouses since 1997. Everyone is welcome to attend, and the event is free to the public. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
Local people, real success stories shared every week. It's Leading West Michigan with your host, Ryan Howe, here on 102.7 WMOM.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Howe with Summit Business Guides, and we're continuing our conversation with Julie Van Dyke. And before the break, we were just kind of wrapping up on our time at the Growth Alliance, and there was a move over to West Shore Community College. What was that all about?
Yeah, one of my board members was the president of the college at that time, and he recruited me to come work for the college doing business development. And so it was a great transition. We were struggling with the Growth Alliance back in, 09, 10, when the economy was really dipping, and it was hard to recruit businesses to come to the area. I was hitting a lot of roadblocks, and it was it was good timing. So, and I loved the hours at the college. So we went, I went and started the Business Opportunity Center out there, which was a new department where we met with all of the local businesses and provided training to their employees to help them gain the knowledge that they needed for their jobs, and helped gain more knowledge to move and advance in those positions or into better positions. And I already knew all of the business owners anyway, so it was easy for me to get in the door and offer these, low cost opportunities for their staff.
Right. So if you could just maybe give me a little bit more about it, because that's obviously the training with workplaces and working with businesses kind of near and dear to my heart. So could you give an example of some of the training that, like maybe some specifics on some training that you did?
Yeah, at one level, we offered QuickBooks training. A lot of our business owners use QuickBooks, and but they didn't have anyone to train them. So we hired local CPAs to have classes, and they might be 1 hour a week for 6 weeks, something like that, at different levels. There were other accounting classes that we offered. Then we got into the manufacturing. So we had welding. There was a lot of mechatronics type work, just systems work. I can't even remember. It's been so long. But the manufacturers took great advantage of these trainings.
That's interesting. So was there, again, I'm just putting out here because I'm really interested, is this like a needs assessment that the college put out within the local community? Was it simply your experience that you had with the Growth Alliance, able to say, hey, these 7 things kept coming up over and over again, there might be some value here? What drove the curriculum?
Well, what drove it was that a lot of our baby boomers were starting to retire, and our workforce was seeing that they're going to lose 20 people next year. We better get 20 more trained and ready to take over supervisory positions and things like that. So I don't know, I don't remember doing a needs assessment, but career training has always been a need up here in Mason County for sure.
No, that's, I mean, again, not just here, and I can state this, unequivocally, that there's a reason that folks like that do my work are all around the country and all around the globe as far as working with business professionals, is that there's always a need for it, especially in areas where you got a lot of small businesses. They tend to, they're technicians that then do amazing work with customers. Their word gets out there, and they build up this really great business, but they've never had any technical training, and then either how to run their businesses or trained on how to train their staff.
Right.
So the fact that exists out at the college, to be able to, as a support function, is great. So, and
and a lot of times we would have the staff people come to the college for classes, but then we would also set up classes and go do the training right at the business. So around their shift schedules, whenever it worked for the client. And even when after I left the college, I still did that with Whitehall Industries for several years.
Okay. So while you're working with this, and then at some point, Cottage Works came onto the scene.
So remember, we moved up here in 07.
Yep.
In 09, the economy crashed, and Dan lost his engineering job at Cairns, West Michigan. They just didn't have the work. So he, was downsized in January of 09, and we were scrambling because there were no other engineering opportunities in this area at the time. And we weren't really ready to move back to the Grand Rapids area. We wanted to stay here. We were all feeling really set. So what we did is we started Cottage Works, and I think we probably had like $500 in the bank, and we had some business cards made. We created a website and some flyers, and we started going door to door on our lake that we live on, Plinus Lake, or we call it Lost Lake, and then it just grew. So that first year was a little tight. I think we grossed $19,000 that year. That's gross. That wasn't real good. So I was the breadwinner for a while, but we made it through. There were some really lean years there. Starting up a business takes time, but by the time we hit like year 5 or 6, I joined the business full time, and we actually rented a building on US 10. I can't remember the year, maybe 2013, and it's now McCardle Culligan's building, but we rented that building for 3 years just to see if a brick and mortar would do something for our business instead of doing it out of our home. And oh my goodness, did it. I think we grew 50%, over 50%, over 50% for years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we talked before, and if I'm misremembering, just go ahead and correct me. But my understanding is that you did some work, Dan did some work actually at your own place, and folks were interested in basically what he was doing. Is that sound, or you done some work for some others, and that was really what got the impetus saying, hey, could you maybe help us out with that?
Well, living on a lake, most of the demographic of lakefront owners are a little older, and they don't quite have the skills or the ability to do a lot of their own work. So he was actually helping a lot of our neighbors with their work for years, and that's why he knew there was a niche for this business to help cottage owners. Their kids were busy and couldn't come up and help take out the dock in the fall and put it in the spring and power wash the deck and build a deck or seawall. So it just evolved, and I think he had one employee for the first few years that would work with him. Every year it was a different employee because it was so seasonal. But then he started adding construction. He went back to school, got his builder's license.
Oh, that's great.
And that worked great hand in hand with an engineering degree because he could make the drawings or do the drawings in AutoCAD for the customer so they could visualize what he was going to do. And then actually do the build. So it just came from it. The whole business evolved. We're in our 14th year, and I look back and think how we worked out of our basement, and then we built a garage on our house and moved to the garage, and then all the equipment moved to the barn when he built a barn, and then we rented this building on US 10, and 3 years after that, we actually built our building that we're currently in on the corner of Stiles and US 10. It definitely takes years and years of hard work. So.
Yeah, those overnight successes don't typically happen too often. But here again, that's that finding that niche that's out there. Especially you find yourself doing some pro bono work, quite a bit of it, and all of a sudden you're like, you know what, there actually might be a greater need for these things too. So,
for sure.
And especially with where you're at currently, it's a great location on there. It was when I first came here. With the redhead, again, for those who know, the redhead's my wife. We made the right-hand turn off the spur to head towards Custer, where I live at, and we drove by, and this is maybe a couple years actually before we moved back here, and your building was I was like, oh, this is new. What's going on over here? And I'm like, Cottage Works. I'm like, I have no idea what this is. So when I got in there and came back, and I kept seeing it growing a little bit better and better. And I will say this, as we're moving on, getting closer to our next break here, but I just want to add this piece here is when I moved back here and I started doing my work, you were one of the people to say, hey, you need to meet Julie. Go talk to Julie Van Dyke. She's just somebody you need to chat with because, again, your previous work you're at, but also the fact you're in the community and everything you have. What was interesting is that apparently you had heard about me too because we were at the chamber annual dinner. Mm-hmm. I was at a table chatting with somebody who went to school with Blake Bailey, and you were passing in the sea of people with Dan. And you look over, I look at you, and somehow I'd never seen you before, but I'm like, I think and you're like, you're the new guy. Can I get your card? We passed card as we were moving in the sea of people back and forth, being able to get that spot there. And that interaction to itself, the way that you were able to just kind of figure out who I was because I was different, spoke a lot to what people were saying about you and the way that you're involved in the community. So, and nothing but goodness that you brought. So we're getting ready for our next break, and when we get back for our next break, we want to be able to talk about your work in the community itself outside of work. So You've been listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's take that next break. We'll see you next.
Blue Moon, Bubblegum, Mackinac Island Peanut Butter Fudge, Chocolate Peanut, Truffles and Fudge, and Michigan Pothole. We all know these signature favorites from House of Flavors, right? Did you know when you work at House of Flavors Manufacturing, you get free ice cream to take home? House of Flavors Manufacturing is hiring for all positions in every shift. Take pride in your work and do it to the best of your abilities. Commitment and reliability. Career growth and development is available if you are committed and desire and achieve even more when you work at House of Flavors Manufacturing. Want to know something else? At House of Flavors Manufacturing, you get to work in the cold. With summer being here, I'm sure you would want to be working in a freezer instead of the hot, humid outdoor weather and get paid an amazing wage for doing so. Interested in working at House of Flavors Manufacturing? Go to the House of Flavors Manufacturing website and click on the Careers tab and apply now. Stroke can happen to anyone. During a stroke, every minute counts. Call 911 at the first sign of a stroke. Don't wait and don't drive yourself or a loved one. Recently recognized with the Joint Commission's primary stroke certification, Corewell Health's Ludington Hospital is integrated with Michigan's largest comprehensive stroke center. Learn the signs of a stroke and get more information at spectrumhealth.org/stroke.
Corey here from Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Allergies are bad this year. Don't roll your windows down and inhale the awful pollen flying around. Turn on your vehicle's AC and feel the cold breeze coming through your vents. Don't think your car's AC is performing as it should? Call Lakeshore Automotive and Tire to get your AC recharged and the cabin vent filter changed. Since not only will the new cabin air filter improve the quality of the air inside your vehicle, but it will also significantly improve the airflow from your vehicle's heating and air conditioning system. Head to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire or call 231-425-3526. That's 231-425-3526. And get your vehicle's AC unit checked on any make or model vehicle.
Hi, Randy Sarnowski here with McGee Insurance. When was the last time you read your insurance policy? Do you truly understand what you may or may not be covered for? At McGee Insurance, partnered with Auto Owners Insurance, we understand this could be a daunting task and are here to help. Our certified insurance professionals are here to work with you so that you understand and know you and your assets are properly covered. Getting to know our customers and finding the right solutions for their needs is what we are all about. To start building your insurance program, stop on in or call McGee Insurance Group, your local auto owners insurance agency at 231-845-5000. McGee, the guarantee you can count on.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Now, before the break, we had just finished up with Julie Van Dyke here talking about how Cottage Works came to fruition and the great success that they've had here. But I do want to talk more about the other aspects you have in leading, not only in business, but also in the community at large in your volunteer work. And, we had talked previously about that. It started with your time at the bank. Is that correct?
Yeah. So when I was with Old Kent Bank, young, right out of college, they had a loaned executive program with United Way of Grand Rapids. And so I was loaned out for 3 months during the United Way campaign. And I was with a big group of people my age that were all out doing workforce campaigns all over Grand Rapids at the local businesses and, helping their staff realize what good United Way did in the county and ask them to give. And I loved it. And all of a sudden, I just realized that I liked doing service work and I liked working with committees and being involved in a community. And after that little 3-month stint, Old Kent Bank really, because as a branch manager, you need to be out in your community. And so I started getting on the committees, the Rotary clubs and the Optimist clubs. And I always stayed on a United Way committee. I very strongly, a strong proponent of United Way, raising money in total for nonprofits in an area. But that's kind of how I got started, and I've never stopped.
Yeah, that after listening to how you were in school, back in high school, you're involved in basically everything. Mm-hmm. So and those are volunteer. That doesn't help with any grade point average. So I can see where if you start young on those things, you understand the power you can have. And frankly, as mentioned time and time again, when you volunteer your time, you get more back than mm-hmm. you ever give out there. So that's interesting. So for 3 months, you were out basically preaching the good word about United Way.
I was.
That's awesome.
It was really fun. And I think I was probably like 23 at the time. So I was young. That was my daughter's age. And, it really helps you get in front of people and not be worried about speaking. I also did a Toastmasters class for like a year, and every Tuesday we met at like Big Boy, and we would have to give impromptu speeches to each other. And boy, did that develop.
I love Toastmasters.
Yeah,
They're so much fun. You just get there and you get to sound terrible in front of folks. And then you get
and no one cares.
No one cares, but you get critiqued, and then you move on and you survive it. That's the one thing with public speaking.
Yeah.
Say words, move on.
And you're better for it.
You are,
Yep,
absolutely.
for sure.
So we're continuing our conversation with Julie Van Dyke here on WMOM. And so up here, what are you actually involved with up here? I noticed you and Dan were the chairs in United Way back in 2018. Is that correct?
Okay, yep. Yeah, we took our turn chairing the campaign that year. We've been on the United Way planning committee for the big Suds on the Shore fundraiser since its inception way back when. I think that was, I can't remember if that's 14 years ago or not, something like that. But I remember when it was very controversial, can United Way sponsor something that involves drinking? And it is the biggest fundraiser of the year in this community, and it raises so much money for our nonprofits, and people come from all over the country. In fact, last year it was my 35th class reunion from Swan Valley High School over in Saginaw, and instead of having it in Saginaw, we held our 35th class reunion in Ludington. So I had about 55 classmates come, and we had our own tent at Suds on the Shore, and we had a big dinner the night before at Crown and Cork, and Hungry Howie's delivered pizza the next day, and we just really soaked up Ludington with all of my friends. So,
and was it their first trip for any of the people over here?
Some of the people had never been here. Of course, the draw is the beach, Lake Michigan. We had them set up in 2 local hotels, Nader's and, I can't think of the other one. Christine Dyke, you're going to kill me. Right on the corner. I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, we could all walk everywhere and hang at the pool, and we just had a great long weekend all together. And a lot of us hadn't seen each other for probably at least 15, 20 years since the last reunion. So,
that's so great to hear. So, as far as your other access here, and that's part of what actually was my original draw for having you come on, was I talked a lot about informal leadership. And when I talk to people, and I've given training and coaching on what it is to be a leader out in the areas, 90% of leadership is showing up. It's just go there and people see you, and then after that 10% is helping people get to the next level. But you got to be there. And one of the things that I've seen and I've heard from you consistently is there's an event going on in town, and I will give it like 1/10 of 1 second on Facebook. It'll be like going, "Hey, I'm going. Who's with me?" And that has to do with the informal leadership that you offer there as far as showing up. So, you are there. I guess my question to you is this something that you just enjoy being out and being able to support people is really what I'm getting at the end of this. Is that correct?
Yeah, I do. I'm a very social person. I'm an extrovert. I love being around people. I love meeting new people. And I also like to support our community. And I know that if we all don't help by volunteering for some of these things, they just can't happen. So I wish everyone at least volunteered for one organization. I know people work a lot. I end up dragging my husband and my kids along to a lot over the years. They've always had to help me out with things. In fact, we never even talked about when I was having the babies. I was working part-time for the Chamber of Commerce in Allendale, and so I ran the farmers market, and I ran the newsletter, and I had to get advertisers, and that whole time with the chamber, my whole family had to be involved. It was a team effort, and I think that happens a lot. Right now I'm volunteering a lot with the Scottsville Optimist Club, and we have a Purses with a Purpose fundraiser coming up on August 17th, and that's for Lakeshore Food for Kids. I work a lot with the Community Foundation for Mason County. Whatever it takes, one of my friends is usually involved in something and is asking me to come along. So then I try to get other friends to help as well.
Yeah, so the Optimists, and they meet at the State and Main building, correct?
Yes, we're meeting at State and Main the first Wednesday of every month at noon, and we bring in pizza from North Country Cafe.
Okay, yeah, that's great. And then, that, again, Purses with a Purpose. But, to go back to what you were saying as far as your friends, as someone who's run I've had to run quite a few events. My time I've been involved for most of my adult life in different causes. When I think just the fact of also having the people that show up. I think that's one of the biggest worries you have when you're running something is like, I'm going to go through all this work, I'm going to do everything, and then what if no one shows up? I think we've all had that if you've ever run anything, been involved at 2 a.m, that little pang of fear. So,
yeah, but people better show up. So that's where my marketing degree comes in, because I am a big believer in promotion, get the word out, keep getting the word out. People need to hear it like 7 times before it clicks. So, I might put maybe too much out sometimes on social media, but boy, it's free and it gets in people's ear, and hopefully and my friends usually jump on board, and then their friends jump on board, and it just spreads. So.
Yeah, no, that's really, also here is kind of what it takes is, I've mentioned a couple weeks ago, when you look around the area, this is for any of the 4 counties and surrounding us here, is that we're the ones that have to make it happen around here, and we can't really count on help from too many outside sources. So when these events are happening, they absolutely they're going to benefit somebody that I can pretty much guarantee it.
Yep.
Because we all know each other around here. My wife and I, we've been on the receiving end of, charitable contributions, many different times in our life. And I've never forgotten that, where something as simple, the Toys for Tots that they had, where when we were young, I was a young airman, in the military, and it was around Christmas time, and we were doing okay. I mean, we were getting by, but not really. And I'll never forget when I had somebody show up one day, and they're like, by the way, here's some gifts for your kids. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize you knew I had kids. And what it was, obviously the boss that I was worked for, he put my name in there and said, hey, these young airmen, they're young family, they're working hard and trying to make it work. And I've never forgotten that. So that's huge. I'm always supporting that whenever I can in any way, shape, or form. So again, for all of us out there, just as Julie said, if you can, take a moment, find some way, just one time a year, just to give back in the community. You're never going to know who it's going to help, and there's maybe a possibility you might end up being on the receiving end of some of that work that you've done. So, again, we are getting ready to go into our last break here before we go into the final section here to talk about family, what's next, what's going on with Cottage Works, and also Wave Nutrition. Can you deal there? So, again, you've been listening to Leading West Michigan on 102.7 WMOM, at home on your Amazon Alexa or Google Home smart devices, streaming online at WMOM.FM, and live on video streams on the 102.7 WMOM Facebook page and WMOM YouTube channel. So let's take that last break.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
Hey, this is Kim and Kelly from Sister Bees, and we have a big announcement that we can't wait to share with you.
We now offer Michigan-made specialty mead at the Sister Bees Boutique. What is mead? It's a beverage made of honey. It's fermented with yeast. It's often called honey wine. Once fermented, sweet fruit, grains, and other spices are often added.
In fact, mead could be the oldest drink in the world, enjoyed by the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon.
So buzz on into the Sister Bees Boutique. We're located right on South James Street, and we're open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 5.
The store offers fun home decor, products crafted using the beeswax. We have local specialty gift boxes and free tasting of honey mustards, creamed honey, and more.
And once again, come check out our new mead selection. You don't have to be a royalty to enjoy this ancient beverage.
Sister Bees looks forward to seeing you soon.
Hey guys, it's Andy.
And I'm James.
And we're from Ludington Applebee's.
We're here to share some of our exciting specials with you. Do you have champagne taste on a beer budget?
Look no further. We are introducing our Homers. Take home 5 Mucho cocktails starting at $15. Perfect just in time for summer.
This includes Long Island iced teas, margaritas, Bahama Mama, and more.
If you're interested in behind the scenes of Applebee's, we are hiring.
Andy, what are some things you love about working at Applebee's?
James, I just really love coming into work. I love making sure that all my guests leave happy. They have a good, fun experience when they come in. And I've been there for almost 6 years, so everybody's like family. We all have a good time coming into work. I just love coming in. See you guys.
I agree.
If we sound like a good fit, apply online at Indeed or Applebee's.com.
Hi, Northern Michigan, Cody Watson, owner of Watson Motors in Manistee and Ludington. It doesn't matter if we're driving our family to work, school, or family vacation. You want to know your family is safe. That's why so many families and businesses trust Watson Motors as their go-to for auto service. So if it's tires, batteries, tune-ups, or air conditioning, Watson Motors has the expertise to keep your family on the road safely. Check out our service today, either in person or at watson-motors.com. Watson Motors, our name means a great deal.
Mom's Fridge Magnets are community calendar announcements presented by Watson Motors, West Michigan, CMH, McGee Insurance, and Lakeshore Automotive and Tire. Another fridge magnet comes your way next.
Did you know getting regular oil changes improves your vehicle's mileage and improves your engine's performance? Clean oil is essential for keeping your engine and all the engine controls running smoothly. Stop by Lakeshore Automotive and Tire in Ludington to have your oil changed.
At Watson Motors, we understand your time is valuable. If you prefer to do the process from home, you can start with a trade-in appraisal or a finance application and purchase online. You can even get your vehicle delivered to your home. If at any point you decide you're more comfortable with one of our team members by your side, we're open to pick up where you left off. Watson Motors is located in Ludington at the corner of US 10 and Dennis Road, and in Manistee on Parkdale Road across from Big Al's Pizza.
Monday, August 14th from 4 to 6 p.m., the Manistee County Library is having an event called Dungeons and Dragons for Teens. Learn and play the world's greatest role-playing game facilitated by the fine folks at Backstage Hobbies and Games in downtown Manistee. Registration is required for this tween/teen-friendly event. If your group or nonprofit organization has an announcement that you would like others to know about, reach out to us and we'll add it for free to the Fridge Magnet program thanks to Lakeshore Automotive and Tire, McGee Insurance, West Michigan, CMH, and Watson Motors.
It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM. It's Leading West Michigan, and we're back with your host, Ryan Howe, on 102.7 WMOM.
And Wave Nutrition. And again, Steph, just want to wrap up this last bit here with, again, talk to us a little about Wave Nutrition, but also your team that you have. Again, family, this is your last bit.
All right, yeah. We have a great team at Cottage Works. There's about 14 of us that are full-time, and my husband and I lead the crew. We also have our partner, Jonathan Whitliff, and John has been with us for 8 years and bought in 10% last year. So he is now part owner with Dan and I. And hopefully someday in the near future, he will be the owner and we'll be working for John.
Oh, cool.
But he's a great guy. He started on our dock crew during college. And then when he graduated from Grand Valley State University, he ended up coming to work for us full time. So we're so lucky to have him. We also have a great service manager, Nate Numador, and our barge operator, Luke McVicker. I mean, we just have a really well-oiled machine going on right there. And then plus all of our dock crew and then all of my staff that works in the retail shop. But I have to give a shout out to Sue Von Pohl, because Sue's been with us for 8 years and she's our merchandising manager. And we go to the show in the winter and we order all of our merchandise. And as it ships in over the spring, she makes it look good in our shop, not only at our east location, but now our downtown location. And I couldn't do it without her, because sometimes I get so deep into the bookkeeping and the staffing and the scheduling that, you know, the working on the business, that working in it, merchandising the items is kind of a last minute thing for me. So I depend on her greatly. And the whole team, actually, all of the women help make our place look great. This past spring, we opened more Cottage Works downtown on the corner of Rath and US 10. Or Rath and Ludington Avenue, it's called here. And then we also, in that same building, we have Wave Nutrition, which is Herbalife products. It's protein shakes, energizing teas, loaded coffees, protein oats, just a healthy alternative to lunch on the go or a snack or breakfast, whichever you need. And it's proven to be a very successful entity. They're two separate entities housed in one location. That makes staffing a little easier and paying the lease a little easier. But I think our town really needed a little more downtown. And we were actually asked to come downtown with our Cottage Works merchandise. And I thought about it for a while. I thought, do I really want to add this to my plate? But that was another thing, like, you know, Ryan said, informal leader. I thought, I gotta make the effort. You know, I need to, if I have the time and I have the know-how, I should do that. And so we're in the new building below the apartments, the Ludington apartments. So those are new commercial spaces.
And I can say that the shakes are really good too.
Oh, good.
Yeah, they're really good. So,
yeah, I tend to have one for breakfast and lunch a lot. So, super filling and 24 grams of protein. So, but our tourists love having us. It's kind of like having a business downtown is almost like a big billboard for our other business down on Stiles. So my daughter will be down there. She's home from college this summer again, working there. And, you know, she'll say, Mom, so many people came and they said you sent them from downtown. So it really works hand in hand. And we have a lot more merchandise out at the main shop than we do downtown.
yeah,
So
and there is actually life on the other side of Stiles.
there is. It's only really... It's not that far away.
No.
The only traffic are deer and turkey. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But I always tell people, we're a mile and a half past Meijer. If you're getting groceries, what's another mile and a half?
Yeah,
you know?
you got it. No, so now as far as, with hiring, have you had, everyone else has been struggling back and forth a little bit with their hiring, but and I've seen a few ads go out for you, but they're not up for very long when it comes to cottage works. How have you been doing as far as getting and retaining staff during this time?
You know, we've been doing really good. We retain the staff on the cottage work side in the service portion, the guys, because we keep them busy year round. We do indoor renovations in the winter months, and then that keeps the guys busy, keeps them on the payroll. We offer health benefits, and then in the spring we've got them again when it really gets crazy. But we are looking for another construction guy. So if anyone's got construction experience and would love to come work for us, we'd love to chat.
Okay, all right. So now, again, on our last few minutes that we have here, Julie, again, we've been talking about, obviously your journey that you went coming from, the other side of the state, making your way over here. But you've really been involved with community, giving back. Is there anything that you just want to be able to say out to folks, again, in addition to as far as, what they can do or how they might be able to help with the community if they're not sure, maybe who to reach out to or anything of that nature?
Well, it's so easy. I see people post on Facebook all the time, these retirees that are moving up to their cottage and they're like, hey, we want to do something. We want to be involved. Where can we go? I would say call the United Way. They have the contact information for all of the nonprofits in our area that are desperately seeking volunteers and help. I would talk to the chamber. Randy Miller would be able to point people in the right direction. And a lot of times I'll just respond to a post on Ludington Cares page or something and just say, hey, I think you should go call this group. I mean, it definitely takes all of us working together. And if you have a service mind and you want to give back just a little, it doesn't hurt, and it does. Like Ryan said, it makes you feel so good to accomplish something and see how much money can be raised for an initiative. Like, look at the Lakeshore Food Club right now is struggling with food to fill their grocery store. And now all of a sudden, a plea went out on social media and everyone's stepping up and, donating money and doing food drives and trying to rally together to feed, the inflation has really hurt everybody. And, our wages are not going up. It's tough for everybody, but it's a lot tougher for many, and we need to do more to help.
Yeah, when I saw that was, I saw it go out there, and it was actually I have a note out there to send a note like what else can we do to help on that, because I myself, but also we've had many folks when I was in the military get food. Even the military members. We had our own little food bank that we managed inside our within the own community there. So yeah, if you can, reach out to United Way, get a hold, reach out. They're more than happy to put you in line with whatever your, where you'd like to be able to help at. I'm guarantee you that there is somebody out there who can help you, who can connect you at that point to be able to help. So again, that's all the time we have for today. Again, I want to thank Julie Van Dyke for joining us today and sharing your leadership journey. Thank you so much, Julie.
You're welcome.
This has been great. So I am always looking for new leaders to have on this program and give them an opportunity to share their stories. I'm interested in leaders in every aspect of the community. So if you know a leader making an impact, go to summitbusinessguides.com/leadingwestmichigan and submit their name for consideration. And if you would like to learn more about what I do to help organizations, visit summitbusinessguides.com. You can follow Summit Business Guides on Facebook or send me a note at ryan@summitbusinessguides.com. So join us next week when I'll be talking with Dr. Mark Forner, the Mason County Eastern Schools principal, to learn more about his journey to becoming a West Michigan leader.
You've been listening to Leading West Michigan with Ryan Howe, a weekly program where you hear success